Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by the big man Bakar to preview Game Week 10. Bakar, currently I'm 1 point ahead of you. We're both not doing that well. Both had pretty poor game weeks last time out. Mine was worse than yours, but my game week rank was like 10.8 million or something. Yours was slightly better. But yeah, how was last week? Tell the people what transfers you ended up making, and yeah, then we'll get into your team for Game Week 10.
Yeah, hello Jack. Hello, welcome to all the listeners and viewers. Yeah, I mean, it was an underwhelming week for pretty much everyone who didn't have Van der Ven or Rodon, I would assume. I mean, those were the main sort of killers to my rank, and Bomo to a less extent as well. But yeah, I mean, I ended up saving last week. I'm not too unhappy about how things went, if I'm being totally honest. I was expecting a bit of an underwhelming week, but overall, I'm happy with where I'm sitting now with 5 free transfers. And that was the main reason behind rolling last week, so that I can just get very creative with my transfers this week. And I think this is going to be a very important week because there are a lot of fixture swings. Palace have a good swing. For example, a lot of people are selling the likes of João Pedro, Reinders. So it is quite a heavy transfer heavy week.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that, I have 5 free transfers in hand to sort of navigate the chaos.
I mean, you're in a great spot, really. It's like having 5 frees is elite, especially as you said. I mean, I'm just repeating what you said, but I need to like double down on that. You're in a really good spot to get aggressive, change your team up entirely if you want to. Let's see what plans you have in mind. Before we get into your plans, actually, we should probably have a quick look at your team first to see how it's looking. But I do want to have a look at your recommended transfers before you even say what you're thinking of doing, just because I think it might be fun to start with that. So let's have a look at your team first. It's on screen right now. Don't give away any transfers that you have in mind, any transfer plans that you have, but just sort of walk me through it and tell me the problem positions. But as I said, don't give away any players that you are, well, potentially going to go for.
Yeah, I mean, just before I get started on that, while you mentioned that, I'm in a relatively good spot with 5 free transfers in hand, I also feel as if there are not too many obvious transfers that I can make. So
Yeah,
I'm very
okay.
wary of overusing the transfers or making transfers that might not be optimal for my team, because I can easily get this wrong.
Sure.
At the time of recording, I haven't made any transfers because I just wasn't sure which route I wanted to go. And because I don't have anything in the bank, I would have had to make at least 2 free transfers to get to any player that I would have wanted before the price rises that have happened. So currently I'm sitting with a fresh slate and hoping that some information does emerge from the cup, because that would give me some clarity going forward. Because what happens usually when you have multiple free transfers is that so many options are appealing, but I feel as if any extra information could just tilt that balance towards one option.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to wait for now.
Yeah, that's very sensible. That's very sensible. Yeah, especially given that there have been some price changes already, it's definitely worth waiting. I would say a lot of midweek games, a lot of big midweek games as well. Obviously, the Palace-Liverpool game is the big one, I think, where you'd expect both teams to go full strength and anything could happen in that game, obviously. Let's then talk about your potential moves or your recommended transfers. So I'll get them up on screen right now. So here they are on screen. These are your recommended transfers according to Fantasy Football Hub. You have 5 free transfers this week. And the recommendation from the AI is to use 3 of those transfers, getting rid of Gyökeres, Stack, and Anderson for Mateta, Enzo, and Mukiele. I've got to say, off the rip, I do like these moves. I think Gyökeres can be sold this week. And you can't sell João Pedro for Mateta in one move because you have nothing in the bank. Mateta, I think, is inevitable. I think he has to come in this week. We'll talk about him in more detail, I'm sure. Then you're getting in Enzo, who is a player that you have really wanted to get in like the past couple of weeks because you've saved some money. And then if Anderson is out, maybe it's good to drop Anderson to Mukiele and play him this week because he's got a really good fixture at home to Everton, and you're taking money out of your defence. What are your thoughts on these transfers? I know we're probably going to go into sort of your overall ideas after this, so it's hard to give your exact thoughts on just these transfers without talking about your whole team. But yeah, just if you can, just the players alone, what do you think?
I mean, see, this is the problem with my team, and I'm smiling because you mentioned earlier that who were the problem spots in my team, and I still don't think that I would consider Gyökeres as being one when he's playing Burnley and Sunderland in the next two,
Sunderland
right?
away is tough.
They should.
Sunderland away is tough. Burnley away is not as tough.
Yeah, but I mean, the immediate fixture is Burnley, right? So
Yes.
this week I have to make the decision. So selling him when he's playing the worst defense in the league in terms of XG conceded
Yeah.
is quite a tricky, challenging decision, especially when he's been getting 90 minutes every week. Now it's funny that I don't exactly call him a problem position because he hasn't returned in any of the past 5 games. He's actually blanked in all 5 of them, despite having good favorable fixtures.
Yeah.
So clearly he's not been delivering on in terms of his attacking returns, but we did see him get a brace in the Champions League, and he's playing for arguably the best team in the league right now. I do agree to a certain extent that their open play threat is not as good as it should be, but still against a team like Burnley, they should have chances, and Gyökeres should get some returns. I mean, I would be very surprised if he didn't. So while I do feel as if Mateta in is quite likely, as you said, I have slight doubts over selling Gyökeres.
Okay. I agree with some of that. I just do think that we're seeing, like, I think that Arsenal in open play do look pretty toothless. I think they're 8th in the league for open play XG, which is really quite poor, to be fair. Like that, I know they're doing well from set pieces, and the fact that they can rely on set pieces means that they don't have to be as exciting or prolific from open play, but that's low down. So if forget it's Arsenal for a second, we're probably talking more like a Bournemouth striker in terms of where that attack ranks in the league, maybe even slightly worse than that in terms of the numbers. So for 9 million for an attack that's 8th for open play XG, that is a lot. And also, we don't know about the penalty situation still. He's getting great minutes though. And it's Burnley away, as you said. But surely Mateta has to come in this week, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's very likely. I mean, I'll come to Mateta in a bit. I
Okay.
mean, coming back to Gyökeres, I feel as if he will be a transfer out in 2 weeks' time anyway, because that's a time when Havertz, I would expect a return after the international break. The fixtures might not be as good as they are right now. So, I mean, I would be more open to selling him then. It's all about the timing in terms of this. Coming to the rest of the transfer stack is a problem. Is a definite problem. I mean, he's been managing a couple of injuries. Apparently, he's had a problem with his rib and his finger, so he didn't play the previous game. And then Anderson, I don't think will play because he's not playing in the cup at least. So I doubt that he's going to be available for the international break as well. But then again, I don't see Anderson as a big problem because I have Van Hecke to cover, and Van Hecke is Leeds at home this week. So I'm fine just ignoring that transfer and just playing 3 at the back with Gabriel, Van Hecke, and Tarkowski or Sunderland. I think that's fine. So my problem areas are the midfield and attack. Stack is one. Gyökeres, to a certain extent, maybe not right now, but probably later.
Okay.
I feel as if Reinders is another potential problem that I absolutely need to address because his minutes are just up in the air at this point because of the options that City have available. A lot of players have come back from injury, and he's just playing CDM, and he's not even getting the defensive contribution. So I just don't see any merit in keeping Reinders, especially when he's more expensive than Stack. I mean, Stack at least can be hidden on the bench because he's 5 million.
Yeah.
Reinders is more expensive. So Reinders is offering absolutely nothing to my team in terms of any potential. And I feel as if João Pedro is another big problem in my team because I've given him an extended run. I, in fact, tweeted this yesterday that I've owned him for 4 weeks. He's gotten no returns. He's gotten 8 points in 4 games. And in a spell where I didn't own him, he got 35 points in the first 5 games. So he's been quite brutal to me.
Poor management.
In terms of trolling me and scoring in the tougher fixtures and blanking in the easier ones. But his underlying data is just atrocious. If you look at his numbers, in 3 of the previous 5 games, he's had no shots. In fact, the only time that he's had more than 1 shot, the last time was in Game Week 3. So since Game Week 4, his threat has been negligible. And I just feel as if João Pedro to Mateta is just such a big upgrade. I mean, you look at someone like a Mateta, Palace are top for XG. Mateta is just behind Haaland for non-pen XGI. So when you look at the non-pen XGI charts for the season or the XGI charts, Haaland is sitting at close to 10. MATETA 6.8, and then it's the rest all below 5. So
Yeah.
MATETA is definitely underpriced when you sort of look at his underlying data and the fixtures that he's coming up. So I feel as if João Pedro to either a cheaper transfers, a cheaper forward, that could be someone like a Krupi or a Giu, or João Pedro to Mateta is a transfer that I would really, really want to make this week.
Okay, let's leave the recommended transfers here then and go back to your team. We can talk more in depth about what you're planning on doing. But just in case you guys haven't been around on the channel for long and you don't know what this is or what even is on screen throughout this entire video, this is Fantasy Football Hub's AI recommended transfers, personalized to Bakar's team. If you want to see your own recommended transfers, and this is done based on our AI, the algorithm, predicted points, it takes everything into account, news, etc., and it's completely objective as well. It's done by like a robot. It's not, there's no sort of human input here. And the link to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub is down below, as you can see at the top of the screen. Get your own AI recommended transfers. If you're not sure what to do this week, and this is such a key week, as Bakar said, then I think now is a really good time to sign up. Or if you're already signed up, make sure to go and have a look at your recommendations, just as some sort of potential sense check. I wanted to do that first before we got into your team, Bakar, just so we have a grounding as to what might be possible. Let's then go to your team and talk about what your plan is.
And so Joker is out as a possibility, but in terms of making funds from, let's say, João Pedro, because João Pedro to Mateta is a transfer that I think I want to make. If I want to do that, then making funds for that transfer is really, really tricky.
Yeah.
And then that leads me to some of the other transfers that I'm considering. I am not a huge fan of any of these, if I'm being totally honest, and I'm sure you won't probably like them either. But it is just the way my team is set up. That also, I also have to sort of mention over here that because I have 5 free transfers, and because we're gonna get 5 transfers in Game Week 16 for the African Cup of Nations, and I will be free hitting in very likely one of the weeks before it, but that's going to be a period between 10 and 16. I feel as if I have to be like super aggressive with my transfers at this point, because there's not too many weeks and I have, quite a fair share of transfers accumulated. So I can be more aggressive than, let's say, the normal or the average FPL manager who has 2 or 3 free transfers in hand. Yeah. So that's why I'm considering some of the moves which I am, and I'm not sure they would be, let's say, optimal for a lot of other managers who have like 2 or 3 free transfers in hand, but I'll get to them straight away. So in order to do João Pedro to Mateta, I can potentially do, let's say, NDI to Minte.
Yep.
To fund this. Now NDI has done all right. I mean, I've enjoyed watching him. Even this week, he was very unlucky in terms of not returning. Vicario made a couple of great saves. One was from Beto, which would have been an NDI assist, and the other would have been an NDI goal, which got deflected. But at the end of the day, NDI is supplying a forward who's very wasteful in Beto. So that sort of reduces his appeal. And the fixture away to Sunderland is okay, but it does not exactly make him a must own or anything along that lines. And Minte, if you look at Brighton's fixtures coming up, they're like really, really good for just a very long period of time. He won't be going to the African Cup of Nations either. And the home fixtures in particular, like you look, the Leeds at home, Brentford at home, West Ham at home. Then they also have Burnley at home and Sunderland as well, which are not showing up in the graphic. So I just feel that Minte is one of the very rare Brighton attackers who appears to be safe for minutes. And his underlying data is all right, and the fixtures for a while are just really good. I feel as if I don't make this transfer, let's say if I keep NDI and don't get Minte, then I'll probably have to make 2 transfers to facilitate the Mateta move. And if you can just get NDI back on screen for Minte.
Sure. I think as long as like you're getting Mateta in somehow, yeah, and you've said that it's probably not going to be for Gyökeres, you do have to find the money from somewhere. And just looking at your team, like, I don't know how else you could get there. And as you said, I think Reinders is an issue, so he's going to have to go as well. But yeah, okay. So exactly. Ndiaye's back in. We'll keep Mateta in because he's coming in. Okay,
so the other route could be something like Reinders out for could be Sar or Enzo. And I want to touch a bit on this as well. Now, I feel as if both have good appeal. Sar has like better fixtures for more longer. But the problem with him is potentially the African Cup of Nations, but even that could be fine because we'll have extra free transfers to navigate that mess. Enzo might not be as appealing as he was in the previous week because obviously I've been talking him up for the previous 2 weeks, and the appeal of getting him, let's say in Gameweek 8, was the Forest fixture and the Sunderland fixture. Now those are out of the way, so his appeal isn't as great, but I still feel as if that Wolves fixture at home and Burnley fixture away are worth consideration.
Yeah.
And especially if I free hit in 13, then Enzo in just looks like really, really good. So Enzo in is still a real possibility. I don't think there's much between Enzo and Sar, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
That's something that I'll debate on. But Reinders out for either of them could be a possibility. But then I will have to make funds to facilitate the Mateta and Enzo or Sar transfer. And that 1.3 million I am considering, and this may be something that you might not like, is Semenyo out for
Wow. No, I do
Sar.
like that a lot.
I can sell Semenyo out for Sar or Minte or anyone,
Wow.
really.
Okay, let's talk about Semenyo then, because that is, I mean, look at that. Look at that ownership. 64.4%. He's the second highest scoring player in the game. He has a lot of routes to points, including being on penalties, great minutes, even some outside DEFCON chance. The next two fixtures are tough, but after that, it's pretty good once again. And I'm sure you've got quite a lot of money in him as well. He's now 8.1 million. That's a big shout.
I'll lose 0.3 million if I make this transfer. So
well, only if you buy him back.
Only
if you ever want to buy him back, you'll realize the profit.
Yeah, the thing with Semenyo is that the appeal of selling him this week is because he has City away and then he has Villa away. So two fixtures where I'm not expecting too much from him realistically. The problem with selling is that I might want him back in 12.
Yeah.
But I can argue that if I have the number of free transfers accumulated that I do, then it's fine.
So you would be willing to buy him back in 12. That's quite an anti-you play though.
It is very
someone
anti
for 2 weeks and then getting them back.
Exactly, but these are the sort of moves I'm considering because this is what I'm saying. This is not how I usually play. Any other week, and if I even had 4 free transfers, I would probably just make 2 transfers, something like that. But I can afford to be more aggressive, make 3 transfers, and maybe even book in a transfer Semenyo later if I'm doing this transfer this way. Because if you sell Semenyo for Sar, I mean the team just looks really, really strong this week. This looks close to a free hit team.
Yeah. I don't think I would do that personally. I don't know. I think Semenyo is too, like, I think because he has so many routes to points, and I do just think Bournemouth are a great team. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored a couple of goals against City. Like that's how highly I rate them at the moment. And I know it hasn't fallen for Semenyo the past couple of weeks, but they've still been playing pretty well, Bournemouth, and scoring goals.
I want to say here that I think Semenyo is a good asset, but I feel as if a large portion of his ownership overvalue how good he is, because he's really, really overperformed this season. If you look at his underlying data, he's top for XGI overperformance. So I realize that I've been lucky with quite a few points that I've gotten out of him. I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but I'm just saying he's not essential.
It's a great point. In fact,
in fact, if I was wildcarding this week, I don't think I would pick him. And I know you are wildcarding, so this is a point that I would like to mention to you as well, because the next 2 fixtures aren't good. And it just does not seem like the ideal entry point for someone of his price. I would argue that people like Sar and Zo are fine for cheaper.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it.
I don't know. I think Sar. I like Sar. I like Sar a lot. I'm still not sure about Enzo. I've never been that sure on him. I do feel like Semenyo is in a different category to Enzo. But you make a good point because about expected numbers, because last season he was one of the most underperforming in terms of his XG for a long time. And we were talking about how he accrued lots of chances, but they were quite low in XG, which meant that his overall expected numbers were pretty good, but actually due to the lack of big chances, was he ever actually going to get up to those numbers? This season it is quite different, as you said, but yeah, you're right. I feel like the actual answer lies for him somewhere in the middle, and I don't think he's suddenly become like an elite finisher over summer. It just doesn't happen. I know there were those like training videos of him training, but I don't care about that sort of video. So
there
it
are a
would be
couple of
bold.
other
It would be
routes
bold.
I can take as well, and I would like to just talk you through them very briefly. I'm sorry if
Yeah.
I'm taking up a bit of your time, but
No,
this
no,
video
this
is
is it. This is what it's all
basically
about. You've got 5 free transfers. It's a very rare situation, and I think a lot of people in the community may have a similar number of transfers, or at least similar players. So, talking about these individual players is important. Tell me what to do with the team. Who am I removing to go again?
just come back to the original team. Just get Reinders
Okay.
back in and get yeah, even Reinders to Enzo is fine. But yeah, you can just keep Semenyo. You can do a job better to Mateta, Reinders to Sar, I guess, or Enzo either is fine.
Well, you tell me. Who's more likely out of those two? Because that'll be a decision this week for a lot of managers as
That's
well.
a coin flip as well. I feel as if it's a coin flip
A
because you know how
genuine coin
highly I
flip.
value penalties as
Okay.
well. Yeah, you know how highly I value penalties as well.
Yeah.
So maybe Enzo. I think if I'm picking one, it's tough though.
Okay.
Okay, this is Enzo for now. Or could be Sar actually. I think I'll probably
You
go
can't
Sar in
say that.
this scenario. I
All right,
think
we'll
I'll
give
go
yourself
Sar
more
in this
money.
scenario.
We'll give yourself
Yeah,
some more money.
exactly. Because I'll be doing Bruno to Mbomo in this move, which is why.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
But I don't think I would do this, or else I would have moved last night because Mbomo did
He's double
rise,
risen.
and I
He's
let
double
this
risen
be.
already. Yeah.
I let this be. I let this be, and I want to talk a bit about Fernandes to Mbomo because a lot of people are considering this transfer. In fact, close to 500K people have bought in Mbomo already
I
this
think it's
week.
over 600 now.
Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy.
I think Mbomo is a fantastic asset in terms of what he offers. He's not even overperforming that much. In fact, when you look at his numbers, they're only in terms of his XGI numbers, he's only second to Haaland and Mateta, so he's third for XGI. It's just that I don't think I want to sell Bruno to Mbomo because while Mbomo's non-pen XGI numbers are better, and as I mentioned, they're only behind um, Haaland and Mateta. I also like to mention that Bruno's actually ahead for XGI, and he tends to do better for defensive contributions and bonus potential. So all of those factors do add in. And while Mbomo's done well in recent weeks, I won't be surprised if in the next 4 weeks it's Fernandes who's taken over the mantle, and he's the one who's really performing well for Man United. So the signs are there. He's Bruno, when you look at his numbers, is one of the most underperforming assets in the game as well. So I feel as if he's quite a clear hold given the fixes. I won't be doing the Mbomo transfer personally.
Yeah.
What I can do alternatively also is if you can just revert back to the original team. I'm sorry, I keep
No,
coming
it's
back
good.
to
I
the
mean, this is
original team
the
again.
beauty of doing this on the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool. I mean, look at how quickly that is. It took me 2 seconds, and now we can go again. New plan.
Okay, new plan could be this would be a different one because this would involve ignoring Mateta and just selling João Pedro to a cheaper forward.
Oh, there's
Now,
no
this could
point in
be
doing this
Poppy.
then. There's just no point. There's no way you're going to ignore Mateta. I just don't believe it.
I mean, there's merit to this plan as well.
Okay, let's go
I mean,
for it.
if you just
Really?
so João Pedro to, let's say, Krupi,
And I know that was exceptionally rude of me, but I don't care. Krupi comes in.
and then I can just sell the two weakest links in my team, which are Reinders and Stack.
Okay, so Reiners would go to Sar again, probably.
Sar and Enzo, yeah, Sar and Enzo.
Oh right.
And Stack will go for. This is also doable.
Okay, let me make this. Yeah, I understand this. Let me make these transfers and optimize. Enzo will come in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know what the logic or rationale behind this selection is? It basically removes the three weakest links in my team. It's João Pedro out, Reinders out, Stack out.
Fine.
Yes, I'm not getting Mateta, but it allows me to keep Fernandes. It allows me to keep Gyökeres. It also allows me to keep Semenyo. And these are players in all other plans I'm considering to get rid of.
Yeah. I don't like this because I feel like you need Mateta. I think he's that good, and I think the fixtures long term. I think you just need to get him in and just set him until game week 16 when you get those transfers, and then you can discuss. You can potentially take him out then. I just think like those fixtures is like look at those next 5. They're so good. And we know like he's been an absolute monster this season. Like I think you just have to get him in. For me, he is as close to essential as a player as there is right now. After Haaland, genuinely. I think he's that good.
I think he's great. I do think I'll get him in, but I don't dislike this route a lot either because it just allows me to keep whoever I want to keep, and then maybe I can just sell Jokeris and Mateta in a couple of weeks. That's
Yeah,
also not bad. That's also not bad.
maybe, but I feel like Mateta is just levels above Gyökeres right now. I really do. I know he got a couple of goals in the Champions League, but apart from that, and those goals were not very good, by the way. I know that doesn't mean too much, but they weren't that good. Apart from that, I just have not
Okay,
been
Jack, I know this.
inspired
I
by
know
him
this
at
video is
all.
taking a bit longer than usual, but now that we're sort of coming to the conclusion of it, what would you do if you had my team?
Finally, we're getting to the important part of the video. My thoughts. I actually have been thinking about this throughout the entire video, and I think I know what I would do. I think, like you, I think I would keep Gyökeres because I wouldn't sell both Gyökeres and Joao Pedro. I think you can keep Gyökeres for this week, being completely serious. So I would sell Joao Pedro for Mateta, 100%. I agree with you. I think Reiners is an issue. I think he would go as well, and Stack is actually okay. I don't think you have to use a transfer on him. So I think I love Sarr, so I would go for Sarr, in for Reinders. Then I think I would love to get another.
That's the tricky part.
I would no. This is what I've been thinking, right? And I would do and die down to Minte, who you said you like, and then to fund that, I think I would sell Tarkowski with one more transfer for a Palace defender. Either Gay, but probably Richards is what I would do.
That would be 4 free transfers.
Though. 4 free transfers, really very aggressive, yeah, but I think you've got these 3 Palace players in, which I'm going to have on wildcard. I probably will have Munoz, but apart from that, it's the same. And like this is a definition of set and forget these lads. Like you should not have to think about them at all. Minte as well, very good long-term fixtures. And then after that, you can sort of forget about the right-hand side of your team and then either roll next week or get someone in for Gyökeres, whoever's the form striker that week. That would give you a lot of money to play with in the future. I wouldn't do Bruno to Mbermo. I think I would keep Semenyo. I think it's just unnecessary if you think you're going to get him back in. So I think this is what I would do. And I think you would have good rotation between Senesi coming in and then Van Hecke, who has good long-term fixtures. And then the rest of the team you can just sort of play every week.
Jack, my counter argument to that would be that while getting Semenyo back in would require an extra transfer, this team is also using up 4 free transfers, and the Semenyo route that I've suggested would also take up 4 because it will be Semenyo out and then back in. So
yeah, fine.
There's not much
that's
difference.
That's a good point.
In terms of.
I do think Richards is a big upgrade over Tarkowski though. I don't know. Tarkowski is a lot of money. And I think getting Sarr and Minte in is good. I mean, ideally, Minte would be Enzo. But I feel like Richards is just... You can just leave him there for ages and he'll just be great. I think he is the best 4-5.
You're just building towards your own wildcard team. You're just
I love Triple Palace, 100%. Yeah, why would I not? I think getting Triple Palace is huge.
Great.
Like, and the fact that you can do that for free is massive. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't get Triple Palace when their fixtures are so good up until 16.
Yeah, anyway, you can now see the sort of dilemmas I've been going through since the previous deadline. And this is going to be a head scratcher right till Friday. I'm hoping the cup games give me some sort of clarity as to which route to take. Just touching briefly on Thiago as well. He's quite popular in terms of being transferred in this week. He's close to 200k people have bought him already. I am not considering him for my team because I don't like the short-term fixtures. So if we can see his short-term fixtures, Jack, they're a bit tough. And when you see Palace away, Newcastle, and then Arsenal and Spurs in 4 of the next 6, I just think he will be good value at some point. But at this point in time, I just don't see him as a priority transfer. So if I'm selling Joao Pedro, I would rather just go for Mateta or just swap down to a cheaper forward.
Sure. Well, that's been about half an hour of great content, in my opinion. Very interesting, your team this week. And I hope that, you can use some of what Bakar's been talking about for your own team. I will just say that before we go, that if you did my suggested moves, you'd get a 97% team rating. And that's pretty high. So what do you think? Like, if I was to ask you right now, what are your plan? Like, what are you most likely to do? Say deadline was in 2 minutes. what do you think you would do? I'll reset your team just so we can have a look at it one more time.
I think if the deadline was in 2 minutes, I would probably do João Pedro to Mateta, Reinders to Sar, and Semenyo to Enzo. Maybe.
That's quite good
I
as
think
well.
that's what I
I
would
do
do.
like that actually. So that's
that's what
one
I'm
fewer transfer used, but you're going to use it eventually. 96% team rating. Yeah, I like that. I don't. And Dyer, we haven't talked loads about him. I know you mentioned him. I'm not 100% sure about him now. I think Sunderland away is now tough, and then Fulham at home is good. Then that's tough. I think he can be sold.
He strikes me as the kind of guy who's perfectly okay to keep, but because I have 5 free transfers, he might be okay to sell.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. Tarkowski, I feel like could go because I just don't see many clean sheets there.
So
Maybe
you look at
two?
the fixtures. If you just hold on those fixtures. So by that logic, if you're looking at from game week 12 onwards, Man United away, Newcastle, Bournemouth away, I
Yeah,
feel as if Ndia will be a transfer out in a couple of weeks' time as well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I might there's the logic would be I can just get rid of him right now instead of just
Well, that's why I was like, I
waiting.
don't mind getting rid of both the Everton players. Also, like I know they were okay against Tottenham, but 3-0 at home is never good. You know?
I mean, Tarkowski has been disappointing, but yeah, I do think Tarkowski to Richards is fine if I'm looking to make funds as well. That's not bad.
For me, that's the easiest way to get money in your team. That also the safest way because I don't think there's much downside. I think you're going from a decent defender to a slightly better defender for $1 million cheaper. That's how I see it. I don't know.
Exactly, and Tarkowski.
I'm hot on Palace.
I agree. I mean, in terms of being the safest route, it is definitely the safest because Tarkowski is high owned, even if he does well. Not many people will have him, but on the other hand, Semenyo selling him could be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends how you view it. I don't like. Yeah, you're right. I don't think Semenyo's going to go crazy next 2 game weeks. I just feel like you are also losing 0.3, as you said. If you know you're going to get him back in, I just don't know if you need to risk that. I think there's enough upside elsewhere to just keep Semenyo along with everyone else, and then not risk who knows. I think City away is really not that bad a fixture for him anyway. I don't think either of those two are bad.
Get some joy on the break.
Exactly.
Get some joy on the break.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I just think Bournemouth, like Iraola, is just elite. So they could easily get 4 points in those 2 games. Genuinely. All right, mate. Good stuff.
I think we've gone a bit too long about our
team, not long enough. Arguably.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you have any suggestions for my team, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And we'll see you all next week. Good luck.
Wow, there we go. The outro has been done for me. That was wonderful. Thanks, Bakar. If you do want to see Bakar's final team reveal, by the way, which I would sign up to Fantasy Football Hub for because to see what he's going to end up doing, link is down below. But yeah, there we go. Bakar said it all. Good luck this game week, everyone.